Hiya. So where am I today? Well, I'm on the Grand Union Canal and I'm at Hatton locks. There are 21 locks in Hatton locks. If you look down there, I don't know how well you can see that, but there's 17 locks behind me. There's 4 locks in front of me. I'm not here for the locks, but I'll tell you about them. However, I'm going to go north. Got to walk around 4 locks, so I've got my sandals on instead of just my board shoes. I'm going to walk up there, going to get on the water. Let's go. Good morning. You're right. It's a long way. Whew. So in the late 1700s, a canal mania struck the country and meant that canals were built all over the place, primarily out of the Midlands, to bring coal out of the Midlands and lots of other stuff. Most of the country's manufacturing industry was in the Midlands, so all of the stuff that was required to get to that and to get back out again, all of the produce coming out again, needed to come through the Midlands. It needed to get on the canals, it needed to go to places like Liverpool, Bristol, London and to the rest of the world. So in 1793 an Act of Parliament was passed to bring a canal from Birmingham to Warwick, and that's what this was built for. It is, but it's good for you. So in 1799 the canal was built and opened. It didn't look like this then. It wasn't a wide canal, it was a narrow canal designed for narrow boats. 7 feet wide for the narrow boats. There was a lot of problems with that because you can't bring, I mean they're much cheaper to build, but you can't bring such large loads. You have the narrow boats and you have the wide beam boats and barges, and that made life quite congested really. That's a big oak tree that's fallen over. Wow. But did anybody hear it when it fell? That's the thing. So the Act of Parliament and the design of the canal meant that it needed to be quite complex actually. There were the design required 3 tunnels as it snaked down from Birmingham, and when it got to Hatton it required it to go over the hill at Hatton or down the hill at Hatton. That required, as I said at the beginning, 21 locks and a fall of 148 feet. They're all still there and they're all still working, and it's a really busy part of the canal network even now. I think it's got permanent staff that are there to help boaters get through as quick as possible, but even so, you know, these things take hours and hours to go through and operate all of the locks to get them through. Now when the place was first built, as I said, it was a narrow canal, and in the 1900s everything was kind of falling into dilapidation really. So the Grand Union Company, which was started by the Regent's Canal Company in London, started buying up sections of canal, and the Birmingham and Warwick Canal was bought up by the Grand Union Canal Carrying Company because all of the rest of their network, or their original network, the Grand Junction Canal and the Regent's Canal, were wide canals. They decided to widen it, and so in 1929 it was all widened, and it was made to fit a 14 feet wide barge. That's why you see it now stretching out in front of us as a wide canal. Oh, I tell you what, it's getting really autumnal now. The leaves on the water, the trees changing colour. Seems like 5 minutes ago it was summer. Good morning. Morning there. Do you know, when I started out this morning, I checked the weather. It was supposed to be lovely. I ran into a bit of mist as I came towards here, and I think that's what it is. I think the mist just hasn't lifted really. But there you are. I've got a little bit of a breeze in my face really, which is a good thing actually, because that means when I've finished my journey I will be turning around and going back again. And that will carry me home to a certain extent, so that'd be lovely. So when they carried out the widening of the canal, they also made all of these bridges, had to remake them again to 21 feet wide. That's called the bridge hull, and the bridge hull on all of these is now 21 feet, so that the actual canal part can take a 14-foot boat. Bridge number 58. Hello, young cygnet. Hey, you lovely. Tweet, 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 tweet. Now, as I was saying at the beginning, when it was designed, the Birmingham and Warwick Canal was designed with 3 tunnels. As it happens, when it was finished, 2 of those tunnels were turned into very deep cut-ins, but there was one left that goes right underneath the village of Shrewley, so they couldn't make a cut-in through the middle of the village obviously, so they had to build a Shrewley Tunnel. Now right in front of me is Shrewley Tunnel. You should be able to make out on camera that it is, you can see the other end of it, it's nice and straight. But that's actually it's just as short of a quarter of a mile long. It's 433 yards long. I think a quarter of a mile is 444. So it's almost a quarter of a mile long. When it was originally designed, the specifications said it should be wide enough for a boat, not barge. Now we take that to mean that it wasn't ever going to be designed as a wide beam canal tunnel. Fortunately, they did make it into a 16 feet wide tunnel. Otherwise, when the widening came along, that would have been an absolute nightmare. They'd have had to either build another tunnel next to it, which they've done sometimes, or extend the side out of it. Heaven knows how you would do that. Anyway, I'm going to stop here for a moment because I want to show you the safety sign over here, and what that says to me, that says that unpowered craft are allowed through there, so that's a good thing. So I'm going to get my light on, going to get myself ready, probably put a jacket on as well because it's quite cold inside these tunnels, and I'm going to go through it. So I go through a lot of tunnels, I've made a video actually, and the link for that should come up at your screen, at the top of your screen just about now. So you can see, if you have a look at that, you can see the safe way to go about it. There are some things you need to think about. Oh, this is wonderful. There are some things you need to think about when you're going through tunnels. For a start, you need a good light. I've got a really good, powerful light. Also, the main thing really is when you go on you can look up every tunnel in the country on the Canals and Rivers Trust website. That will tell you whether unpowered craft are allowed to go through that tunnel or not. It's really important that you stick to that, because you know there are some really good reasons. Too wiggly, too dangerous, all sorts of things. If you look along the side of this, there's a chain along the side. It needs to have that chain as well, so that you can grab hold of that if you need to. If you notice, there's no towpath through here, so in the old days when it was built, they would have legged through here. That would have meant two people on the boat would have been out on planks, pushing their feet, laying on their back, pushing their feet against the sides of the tunnel. The horses were led over the top, and it's interesting actually, because it's an interesting way that the horses got to the top from the other side, but I'll show you that when we get there. So I'm loving this. It's a wet tunnel, by the way. I'm getting dripped on all over the place. If we look up there, it's a brick-lined tunnel, and can you see the calcium deposits? That's called flowstone, they call that. And that is where the calcium's coming through from the hill above. I'm actually right underneath the village of Shrewley now. And the calcium's coming through from the granite that's above me, getting dissolved and dripping down. This is wonderful. One of the things you do need to look for is debris in the water. All the time I'm looking for debris in the water, just in case there's a log across there or something. Oh, I'm going under a bit of a waterfall now by the look of it. Oh. Yeah, you wouldn't want to hit a log. I've done that in the middle of a canal. Oh. Wonderful. This is great because it's really straight both ends of this canal as well, so I can see if there's anything coming. It is designed to have two boats in here passing, so I should be fine, you know, I would be okay. But it's always comforting to see that there isn't anything coming the other way. Marvellous. Quite noisy with the water. And we're out in the light again. Oh, that was amazing. Loving it. Now that's what I was talking about. It's actually two tunnels. one up there for the towpath for the horses and one there for the boats. So basically the horses would come up the towpath, towing the boat. They'd then unhook themselves and the people on the boat would leg their way through, and the horse would go up through that tunnel that comes out into the main street through the village, then follow a path across the field to come down on the other side. I imagine being led there, probably with a little boy sitting on its back or something, I would imagine. That was just great. And do you know what? I think that sun might be coming out as well, which is even better. What an amazing cutting, actually. It's all been chopped out, isn't it? Wow. So how great was that? That's from Hatton locks on what's now the Grand Union Canal, used to be the Birmingham to Warwick Canal. From Hatton locks through to Shrewley. It's a couple of miles, 2.5 miles I think, something like that. And through Shrewley Tunnel. Love Shrewley Tunnel. If you're going to go through tunnels though, please do it safely. Do all the right things. And if you have a look at my video, you'll see what those right things are. But it's basically check it out, make sure you're actually allowed to go through it. You need a license first, obviously. Check that you're allowed to go through it. Wear a light, wear all the right gear. Yeah, just make sure you're doing it safely. Anyway, like, subscribe, stay tuned, and happy paddling.